our channel. So in the previous session we have learned various decision control statements and multi-way selection statement. So in that we have seen simple if statement, if else, else if ladder and switch case. Now in this class let us have a look on iterative statements. Iterative statements. So here the main concept is, if we want to execute some set of statements continuously for n number of times, that we call it as iterations. And another name for these iterative statements is loops. So simply a loop is executing the same set of statements number of times. And here there are mainly three loops. One is while loop, do while loop and for loop. So in every loop we will execute some set of statements continuously. So that's why we call it as a loop. So here, before going to these loops individually, the three important things to be executed in each and every loop. So first one, there must be a loop variable initialization. So we have to initialize one loop variable, one variable that is for loop, executing a number of times. Next, second one, updating this loop, or that means increment or decrementing of loop variable. Incrementing or decrementing of loop variable. And the third one is, so how many times, the question is how many times these statements must execute. So there must be some termination for this execution. If there is no termination, automatically the loop will continue infinitely. That means the control never comes out from the loop. It will continuously executing. That means it will go to the infinite loop. So we have to specify a specific termination. So for that we require some condition for terminating from loop. So these three concepts or these three things we should follow while executing these loops. So in each loop we have to execute these three things. One is we have to initialize one loop variable. Second, we have to update frequently this loop variable. And the third, we need to specify a condition where the loop must terminate. So if this condition fails, automatically the loop will go to the infinite loop. That means infinite number of times. There will be no stop of executing the set of statements. So it will go to the infinite loop. So for that purpose we need to give the condition. Now let us see one by one, coming to this while loop. So before going to the while loop, what is the importance of loop? Why we have to write the loop? So let us take an example. If the problem statement is printing of n natural numbers, that means if I want to print some numbers from 1 to 100. So this is a problem statement given. So I want to print the numbers from 1 to 100. So up to this situation we had a knowledge that we have to use a printf statement for displaying the output on the display screen. So for that purpose we need to implement printf statement 100 times for getting the result. So in order to get the result we need to implement this printf 100 times. That means 100 printfs we have to write it in the program. So 100 lines of code will be there. Lines of code, 100 printfs. So in order to avoid these lines of code, we can write a single printf statement, and executing the same statement 100 times. Hope you understood. So our problem statement is printing the numbers from 1 to 100. So according to our knowledge till now in the C language, so we know that printf is used to print the output on the display screen. So for that purpose here we have to write 100 printfs. So 100 printfs should be written. So in order to avoid these number of lines, we are just writing a printf statement and executing the same printf statement 100 times. This is called loop. For this purpose, we need to use a loop variable, update the loop variable, and write the condition where the loop must be terminated. Hope you understood the exact usage of loops. Now let us have a look on while loop. While loop. The syntax for while loop is while. So while is a keyword. So here we have to write the condition. So where the loop must be terminated. So it is also a block of statements. So we have to write curly braces. Whenever we are writing the block of statements, we need to use curly braces. Write the statements to be executed. Use the increment and decrement operator. Incrementing or decrementing loop variable. And close the block of statements. So this may be a single statement or a multiple statements. Depends upon the problem statement. Next, immediately followed by some statements if required. So this is not a part of the loop, it is outside the loop. So this set of statements, so all these set of statements will be executed repeatedly until the condition becomes false. So here we are writing the condition. As we discussed, that condition is a relational operator, usage of a relational operator between two variables, right? So if you use a compound condition, we have to use a logical operators. The concept is same. So the final result of this condition is either 1 or 0. Right? If it is a simple condition, we have to use a relational operator so that the result may be 1 or 0. If it is a compound condition, we have to use a logical operator even though the result will be 1 or 0. That means true or false. If the condition is true, the control will enter into the block and all these statements will be executed, and immediately after coming to this closed brace, again it will go to the condition, and again once next time the condition will be checked, and if the condition is also true, then again the statements will be executed, and immediately after coming to this closing braces, again the control checks the condition. If the condition is true, then again the statements will be executed. So this process will repeat until this condition becomes false. So how this condition will becomes false? That means based upon our increment or decrementing of loop variable. So incrementing and decrementing of loop variable, the condition will change by iteration by iteration. So these number of rounds these statements executes. So number of rounds this block of statements executes Each round we call it as iteration. So if this block of statements are executed 5 times, so we call it as 5 iterations. So previously I have said an example that printing 1 to 100 numbers. So for that, if we use this while loop, then the number of iterations are 100 iterations. Number of rounds, number of times this block of statements executed. So each time we call it as iteration. So these loops are called iterative loops. These loops are called iterative loops, iterative statements. So hope you understood. So whenever this condition is false, immediately the control will not enter into this block of statement. The control will come out from the loop and the next sequential execution start from the statements just below the loop. So that's why. So here this statement X is not a part of while loop. This is outside the loop. So if the condition fails, then this statement will execute, and from here the sequential execution starts. So until this condition fails, this block of statements will execute it repeatedly. Now let us have an example so that you can clearly understand. So let us take this common example, that is printing of 1 to 100 natural numbers. So if we want to take, print 1 to n natural numbers, let us have a loop variable as I, increment and decrement operators I plus plus, and the condition. So where the loop must stop. So while, here we have to write the condition so that up to the condition is true, the block of statement will be executed. So the condition will be I less than or equal to 100. So initialize the loop variable. So let us take I as a loop variable. I have initialized the loop variable I is equal to 0. I have started the loop while I less than or equal to 100. So the block of statement will execute until this condition becomes false. So we have to print the I value %d/n I, so that, and now we have to increment and decrement the I loop variable. So this can write as I plus plus or I is equal to I plus 1. So anything, we can write anything, any statement. I is equal to I plus 1 is correct or I plus plus is correct. So close the loop. Now first I is equal to 0, check the condition, 0 less than or equal to 100, true, 0 less than or equal to 100 is true. So the control will enter into the loop, printf statement %d I value will be printed as 0. Now I plus plus, so I becomes 1, and immediately whenever the control reaches the closed brace, it will check for the condition. So here I value now 1, so 1 less than or equal to 100, condition is true. Again printf %d I, now I will be printed as 1. Next I plus plus, I becomes 2, now 2 less than or equal to 100, printf %d I, so 2 will be printed, and now I plus plus 3, next 3. So like similar way these statements execute until the I becomes 100. So let us take 99 is printed, I is equal to 99, so I plus plus, that means 100, I less than or equal to 100, condition is true because we have used this less than or equal to. So again print the 100, I plus plus 101, I value is 101. Now 101 less than or equal to 100. Now the condition fails. Now the control will doesn't enter into the loop. The control will directly jumps out from the while loop. So our output is from 0 to printing the I value from 0 to 100. So this is the output we need according to the problem statement. Hope you understood this while loop after getting this example. So we can restrict this 100, not only 100, we can take a variable as n and we can read from the keyboard, that means using the scanf function, read a value for n and write the n here. If you read the n value as 10, the output will be 0 to 10. If you read the n value as 100, the output will be 0 to 100. If the n value we have read is 1000, the output will be 0 to 1000. Right? So hope you understood this while loop, and let us see the second loop, that is do while. The second loop is do while loop. So this is also similar to the while loop. Here also the number of iterations will be done until the condition becomes false. So there is a slight difference between a while and do while. So now what is the difference? So in the while loop, first the condition will be checked, and if the condition is true, then only the control will enter into the block. Whereas in this do while, the name itself indicates, first the control will enter into the loop, at the end of the loop the condition will be checked. So if the condition is true, then again the control will enter into the block, or it will come out from the loop. It doesn't enter into the loop. That means either condition is true or false, at least one time the condition, the block of statements will be executed. The do while loop statements will be executed. Whereas in the while loop, when the condition is true, then only the block of statements will be executed. That means then only the control will enter into the loop. So at the beginning itself the condition will be checked, and if the condition is true, then only the control moves on to the block. Here at the end of the loop the condition will be checked. So that's why it is called exit control loop, and while loop is called entry control loop. So entry will be the restriction, at the entry level itself the restriction will be, and here at the exit level the restriction will be. So let us write the syntax so that you can clearly understand. Right. So do. So here do is also a keyword. So please refer to the previous video keywords so that you can clearly get the different keywords. Do is a keyword and while is also a keyword. Do statements, execute this set of statements, number of statements, it may be single line statement or a multiple lines of statement, a group of statements. So increment or decrement loop variable. So here also we have to follow these three steps. So we have to follow these three steps. First we have to initialize the loop variable, we have to update the loop variable incrementing, and here we have to check the condition, or we have to place the condition for the terminating the loop, exiting from the loop, increment or decrement. So here the increment is not only the I is equal to I plus 1 or I plus plus. So here we can update into 2 also. That means we can replace this increment and decrement loop variable as update loop variable. Right? Don't get confused. So here we have to update the loop variable. So not by 1, it may be by 2 or it may be by 3. Any way we have to update the loop variable. So simply we can write update the loop variable. It may be updated by 1 or updated by 2 or updated by 3, any number of ways, right? So here also, now you have to check the condition. So here we have to place a semicolon after the while condition. So this is the syntax for do while. So this is also similar to the while loop. Do following statement will be executed. So the control will enter into the loop and it will execute these variables, statements, and updates the loop variable, and at the exit level the condition will be checked. And if this condition is true, then again it will go back to the statements. So, that means it will again enter into the loop. If the condition fails, it will come out from the loop. So carefully, while condition semicolon, this is very important. This is very important. We have to place a semicolon in the condition itself, while condition. So here also the execution of these statements will be done until the condition becomes false. But if the condition is false in the first iteration itself, the statements will be executed at least one time in the do while, because first we are executing the block of statements, and then at the exit level we are checking the condition. So that's why at least once the block of statements will be executed in the do while statement. Now let us have an example. The same example, let us take the printing of n natural numbers, that means 0, 1 to 100 or 0 to 100, so that we can write the logic using do while loop. So same logic, do, so write initialize I is equal to 0, printf %d /n I. Now I plus plus, while I less than or equal to 100. Here, see, first I is initialized to 0, next entering into the loop, printf /d, so I will be printed as 0. Now I plus plus 1 less than or equal to 100. Condition is true, so 1 will be printed. Again 2 less than or equal to 100, 2 printed, 3 printed, and so on. 99, if it is 99 is printed, 99 incremented, so 100 less than or equal to 100, so 100 will be printed, and so condition is true, 100 less than or equal to 100, condition is true. Again the loop will be, the control will enter into the loop, so printf I, so 100, right, so 99 is printed. Now I is I plus plus 100, so 100 is less than or equal to 100, so condition is true. Again we have, the control will enter into the loop, printf I, so 100 will be displayed. 100 plus plus, that means 101, so 101 less than or equal to 100, so condition fails, so it will come out from the loop. So hope you understood this while and do while. A simple difference between while and do while, that is, so both loops will be executed until the condition becomes false, but the difference is, in the while loop, at the entry level the condition will be checked, and if the condition is true only, then only the block of statements will be executed. In this do while, first the control will enter into the loop, and at the exit the condition will be checked, and if the condition is true, then again the control will move on to the loop statements. So let us stop here. Hope you understood this session. So if you are having any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section, so that I will clarify your doubts. And in this session we have seen two iterative statements, that is while and do while. So in the while loop, at the beginning itself we have checking the conditions, and if the condition is true, then only the control will enter into the block. And in the do while, the condition will be checked at the exit level. So the control will enter into the loop, and at the end of the loop the condition will be checked, and if this condition is true, again the control will enter into the loop, or if it is false, then again it will come out from the loop. So that's why while loop is called entry level loop, entry control loop, and do while is called exit control loop. So in the next session, let us have a look on the one more iterative statements, that is for loop. So let us stop here, and if you like my video, like it and share the video with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for getting more videos. Thank you very much.